just telling you that during the break, Dr. Taylor, who has a background, I'm going to guess it's been a couple of years ago in actual teaching,
Yes.
dropped some knowledge on me. He explained it to me, and now he's going to explain it to you. And yes, we are going to talk about back to school things coming up here in a bit, but this is the issue on the table, and that is this community focus group last night told the Ames School Board that it believes the best direction to go would be the construction of a new high school. Okay, so now the school district's got to take that information, process it, and decide, presumably, if it agrees. If it agrees that a new high school should be built, now it's not only what that new school should look like and what that new school should contain, but very, very specifically, this is where we come back to our conversation, how do we pay for it?
Correct.
Now, I said earlier that the public would be asked to approve a bond issue, as we did for the middle school and as we did for the elementary schools. That is my presumption, that it gives the school district the ability to borrow money, but you already know how that money is going to be paid back. This is how we get to no tax increase, right?
Correct.
Please, sir. And I have a chart here. He wrote this down, so I'll hold this up to the microphone. You guys look at your radio and you'll see what he wrote down for me. But it all begins with $4.05.
Right. And I think the basis for this is everybody has to understand that school districts have a debt service limit. We cannot go into debt for as much money as we want to, or even as much money as the community may want to support.
So even if we said, go ahead and borrow $1 billion, you can't do it.
We could not do it.
Good.
No.
First of all, good.
I'll tell you how the debt service limit is calculated, and it's based upon the taxable valuation of the entire city.
Okay.
Keep in mind that the value of Ames, if you wanted to buy it, by the way, is about $3.2 billion.
For all of Ames?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
However,
I don't know where I'm going to put it, but go on.
However, there's a little bit over $1 billion of property in the community that is government or non-taxable.
Welcome to Ames.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
DOT, City Hall. Oh, I don't know. Iowa State University.
Parts of that, yeah.
A third. Now, understand what Tim just said there. A third of the property in Ames cannot be taxed.
Correct.
So that takes that money off the books right away.
Correct.
So now you're left with $2 billion for rough numbers.
About 2.5 billion.
Okay.
Let's put it at that.
Okay.
Now, here's where the $4.05 comes into play. Based upon that, if the valuation is 2.5 billion, I'm using round numbers now, and we can, as a debt service limit, only charge or assess our patrons in the community no more than $4.05 per $1,000 of property.
Okay.
For us, that comes to right now $191 million.
Okay.
So
That's the top end.
that's as far as we could go into debt.
Okay.
Obviously, we're not going to spend or build a $191 million high school.
That'd be a really nice high school.
That would be it probably would be.
Yeah. I mean, gold on the floors and stuff like that.
Now, I'm going to shift just a little bit,
Please.
and I'm going to come back to that. It's called
Okay.
spiraling. Anyway, but here you go, if you're ready. Since 1995, when we started actual renovations on parts of the high school, then moved into the middle school project, then into the elementary project, and hopefully into the high school project, we have been assessing the patrons of the community $4.05 for debt service
Okay.
in order to do all of that construction. So it's been in place since 1995.
Okay. Okay.
And if you're with me right now, here's
Hold on, hang on to it.
Here's
'cause-
kind of where the rub comes. Because of that $4.05 that we've been charging, we were able to pay off the middle school debt in half of the 20 years that we really were guaranteed to pay back the GO bonds at that time of $30 million.
And anybody who knows anything about finance means if you can pay something back sooner, you can pay it back cheaper because it's less interest you have to pay.
And we saved the community about $3 million in interest by doing that.
Okay.
The current $55 million that was given to us by the public in the referendum in 2010 will be paid off on June 30th of 2020.
Okay,
10 years in advance. We're gonna save another $6 million on interest just by leaving it at 405.
okay,
Here's the choice that the community has. We can leave our rate at $4.05.
okay.
And in other words, there is no rate increase.
Okay, this is again your tax bill,
Correct.
folks. This is your tax bill.
And that allows me to stand here and say that if we do build a new high school, we can do that, and your property taxes will not go up as a result of this project.
Okay. Now, again, the bond issue is with 60% approval, our approval for the school district to borrow this money through the selling of bonds.
Correct.
Now, if what Dr. Taylor is saying is we already know because we've done it twice now,
Mhm.
the middle school and then the elementary school, that we will be able to pay off that through the debt service ability that we have and not increase taxes.
That's correct.
Now, if you want to know how $14.34 plays into this, it plays into it because it is more favorable. You're going to get a better rate on interest because we've not maxed out the amount of money that we've already taxed ourselves.
That's
And
correct.
some communities around us, and this is not a criticism, but you look at Huxley, you look at Gilbert, their taxable value, I mean, they're way higher.
Around that
Be-
$23 mark.
Because they've figured this is how you do it when you don't have a lot of property, but you still need to build something.
Exactly right.
Okay,
We're one of two schools with a 2 AA bond rating, which allowed us on the elementary projects to get interest rates that were less than 2%, which again saves a tremendous amount of money. The other side of the coin is if on June 30th of 2020, the community decides that they don't want to build a new high school, your property taxes would go down $4.05 because we would be completely debt-free. Now, what that does would change the $14.34 to $10.29.
okay.
So there's your choices. Do nothing, but I want to also point out doing nothing in this situation isn't going to be free.
Well, and that's what we have talked about here in the past,
Right.
and that is the conversation that has to be had, build a new high school versus major renovations to the current facility, which I'm becoming increasingly familiar with. And my daughters, as freshmen, soon to be freshmen, their first act yesterday during orientation was to get lost in that building, which to me answered every question I needed answered right then and there. But it would be cheaper to renovate in sheer dollars and cents, upfront dollars and cents. It would be cheaper to renovate the current facility, but
But the logistical problems that are, and this is all part of what the board took into great consideration. Most of the diagrams and schematics that were done by HALA indicated a new building in around that $95 million range. That renovation would be $85 million. What we also discovered from that, and when I said a second ago, doing nothing isn't going to be free, Jerry Peters, our facilities guy, figures that it's going to be about a $30 million bill over the next 10 years just to take care of the electrical and plumbing problems that are becoming more of an issue within that building.
how much was that?
About $30 million over the next 10 years, 10 to 15 years.
Okay, so let's call it $3 million a year.
Right.
So that 85 now has become 88 first year.
And our architects tell us the renovation will take 5 years, building new would take 3. So the real logistical problem I see is what are we going to do with the kids while we just can't do all of that work just in 3 months during the summer and then say everything's back to normal.
Well, and we learned a bit of a lesson when
Oh, boy.
we attempted to do Mitchell and Sawyer. Well, we learned the lesson on Mitchell, which we put into practice on Sawyer. You can scramble and do, but the bottom line is this building needs to be functional for all of the kids and all of the staff, not just my 3, which are able to freely move about those buildings. We're also talking about elementary schools,
Correct.
as opposed to a 1,400 enrollment high school. And what are you going to do with those kids?
It'd be about 230,000 square feet. That's pretty nice.
Well, but also going back to the renovation, how do you do that around 1,400 kids and staff and everything? You do not understand, folks, how maxed out that building is. in terms of just what's going on there from one day to the next.
I think it's rather impossible to even imagine attempting to do that, but if that's what the community wanted, then that's what we'll do.